know. Thank you, everybody. Listening to the Black Tower podcast is your pleasure and our pain. Wait, what? We're here. We're the Black Tower podcast. We are the boys.
Maybe the most conceited thing I've ever heard Josh say in the years I've known Josh.
I've
heard more conceited, not recorded, but I've heard more.
Publicly.
Oh shit, I forgot to pause the recording. My bad. The true Josh exposed.
Oh shit. Hot mic.
Oh shit, Matt's Daggers lives in Florida.
Ooh,
Zero cold titties. I like that.
Zero titties that are cold. And you know what?
I also live in California, and so there are a lot of people who complain about their cold ass titties, but they're lying. They're just little bitches. And by little bitches, I mean that not in a gendered sense, just anybody who's cold. There are plenty of dudes I work with who are like, I'm cold. And you're like, it's 55 degrees outside. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, come up to Utah.
I mean, you are also 28. I don't know, from the literal Windy City. So
correct.
I mean,
well, no,
it's kind of. I love the dichotomy between all that, where if somebody in the South's like, oh, it's cold, it's really cold, and people from the North, the kind of stereotypical yeah, this ain't cold, you don't know cold, and then people from the North will be down here and be like, oh, it's so hot, and we're just like, you don't know heat yet. You just wait till August.
I'm from Chicago, where it regularly got to negative 20 degrees with wind chill and also 104 with humidity. So I know what walking through an entire puddle that just feels like swamp feels like. And also
what percentage
walking
humidity?
Outside, 65.
Oh, that's nothing. Come on. At least not for South Carolina and North Carolina. That's nothing compared. That's comparatively nothing to North and South Carolina, and probably Florida.
Oh well, Florida. I was there this August.
Yeah, so you've experienced it, but it's very different. 104 degrees at 65% humidity is very different than 90 degrees at I don't know, probably 95% humidity.
Right, it's a dry heat.
In the South, at least on the Southeast coast, we don't walk through the heat during the summer. We swim through the soup.
Mm-hmm.
You swim through the soup,
and it is not good.
Soup swimming. It is not.
Anyway,
good.
sorry, Josh.
You were come here to talk about.
I was just gonna say
you were introing the show. That's what we were doing.
I was telling our faithful listeners to line up to receive their weekly dose of taint.
How many lines?
Prepare themselves. They know how to form ranks. They learn that as soldiers.
But what
prepare yourselves for the tainty goodness that will now be poured into your ears. And if you are watching on YouTube, we shall double dose into your eyeballs.
You will get the madness into your eyeballs. Be prepared.
Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Patreon. That's a great one to follow us on. I'm just saying. Follow us on because
if you don't know where to find any of those things, guess where you can go?
To hell.
That's right. BlackTowerPod.com.
Yes. BlackTowerPod.com is your one-stop shop for all things Black Tower Podcast. It'll give you access to all our platforms. It'll give you access to our last 5 episodes. It will show you all our merch. It's good and awesome and wonderful. And basically, I say this at the beginning because I don't want you guys to miss any of it. We
also
have a lot of fun
doing hell, so you can just go to hell.
Go to hell.
I thought it was Hiffle. I thought it was child-friendly like Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
what in the Hiffle?
Go to Mr. Satan. No, but it's another week, which means it's another episode, which means we've got another tainty topic to try and terrorize.
Stop it.
Who are you?
Me. I am me.
Stop it. Get some help.
Get help. But before we get into that, you should also go to thegreatblight.com. That's a great one too.
The Great Bligot.
For all of your referencing needs for characters and stories and books and whatnot, and also if you want to get a good collaborative space for all the content creators, if you want more, go to thegreatblight.com. They'll give you more.
Give me more. Give me
Andrew,
more.
what are we?
Give me more.
What are we doing tonight? What are we talking about tonight?
Well, before we get into that, for anybody that doesn't know by now, I am Andrew, your Bijan.
Oh, man. Hey, there's intros too.
That's what I meant when I was like, "Who are you?" It was like kind of a bit of a joke, but also like a hey, listen.
The taint is strong with me tonight.
Listen.
Josh,
Listen. Hey. And I am Navi. Hey, listen. No, I am Daniel.
Can we mute his
the
mic?
most annoying of all of this?
I mean, I could.
Cut the mic.
You could just remove me from the entire thing. You could just bail fire me out of the Zoom call.
You see, but the Zoom recording, like audio and video, doesn't like when that shit happens. It gets all wonky. I mean, I would never do that. You are a loved and cherished friend.
I both believe that, and I'm also offended. All right, but we are having too much fun, but also we have a shit to do. So
we do.
We are talking about a topic. Serious. You know who we are now. It's Andrew, Josh, and Daniel. We're here. We're your boys in black. We are from the Black Tower podcast. We are here to give you taint, all of the things that we've already said. But now it's time for us to put on your big Black Tower spoiler condom. So,
welcome to the Black Tower. This is your spoiler condom. If you have not read the complete works of Robert Jordan, The Wheel of Time, books 1 to 14, and also New Spring, Big Bad Book of White Art, and The Companion, you are at risk of being spoiled. Spoilers come with side effects. These side effects may include headache, nausea, vomiting, death, dizziness, vaginal or penile eruptions and ejaculations, dysentery, cardiac arrhythmia, mild heart explosions, varicose veins, darkened stool, darkened souls, more vomiting, arthritis, hemorrhoids or diabetes, virginity, mild discomfort, vampirism or werewolfism, gender inequality for the whole planet, spontaneous dental hydroplosion, sugar highs, even more vomiting, or maybe just a mild rash. If you cannot deal with these side effects, please leave now for fear of spoilers. You have been warned.
You see, there's a strat to me never reading New Spring so that I am technically always spoiled, so that I can technically forever be a virgin of virtue and honor. I am innocent.
Just because you have virginity does not mean you're innocent.
Sure it does.
I've taken a number of V cards, and some of them were very not innocent.
I mean,
okay,
fair point.
One of them had committed a felony. She was like extremely. I'm just kidding. That's not true. I didn't.
Whoa. Speaking of taking V cards, tonight's topic is all about taking someone's V card, and gets very upset when they find out that the V card was taken by someone else. Very upset.
You're not
I'm on the right. I'm on the right week, right? Right.
Yes.
I'm on the right.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna go with yes. Okay.
So tonight,
somebody made a guess because I asked patrons if anyone had a guess, and what was the guess? I had like the perfect kind of connection to it. one said The Witcher. I was like, some would call, them a witch for sure.
Toss a coin to your dragon.
Someone else like, oh, are we gonna finally talk about the divorce? And it's like, pretty sure this was a quite nasty divorce.
Also, can I just say, I love that we all now know who it is. I just want to say that out loud because we found out last Friday. Everyone in the world who was interested found out who it was last Friday. So, or Thursday, depending on when you watched, because it was available.
So tonight's topic, we're going to talk about the artist formerly known as Mirren Aronell, now known as Lanfear.
Lews Therin's craziest of exes.
Not Lanfear. There's no D. There's no D in Lanfear.
Also not man.
One if by land, two if by fear.
also not Manfear. No, Manfear
three
is,
if by Celine.
A different three if by Celine.
And four if this is just getting out of hand.
Four, definitely four. No, so it's a BTP background breakdown. we need like thunder and lightning sound. Add that in. It's a BTP background breakdown on one of the most notorious Forsaken. Now I say that with a bit of
the most notorious.
I mean, well, because they're all pretty notorious.
The most. That's it. That's the most.
But that's just it. Like Lanfear, like everyone knows Lanfear.
Every single teenage boy knows Lanfear. Every single one. And most teenage girls want to be Lanfear. Most teenage boys want to get with Lanfear. And then there's Rand. And he actually has the opportunity. And he's like, no, thank you. I don't want this.
I'm a gentleman.
Oh, God, please don't skin someone else.
So Lanfear. So as Andrew talked about, her regular name was Mirren. And we don't even really, we only get a couple of instances where Rand refers to her as Mirren in the books. So it's like one of those things that if you're not paying attention to, you can miss. It's really easy to miss. But she takes the name of Lanfear as her Forsaken name, or her chosen name, depending on what type
her Forsaken
side
name
of the aisle you fall on.
I will remove you from the world. You say chosen again.
She was one of the ones that was working with Lews Therin to discover the new power.
She's the one who actually discovers it according to the books. Now she needs help to access it, but she's actually basically the magic scientist on so many levels.
Yes.
Who puts together that there is a magic beyond what they know. Because as they have said 87,000 times in the books, all of the greatest things that happened in the Age of Legends were with men using Sidene and women using Sidar in tandem with each other to do incredible feats. And at some point, Mirren discovers a power that is presumably even stronger than both halves of the power working in tandem with each other. And Lews Therin is fucking all about it because he has a hard-on for power. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so during the infamous, drilling of the bore, what actually destroyed the Sarome above Column Dome, she wasn't alone. Digimon comes into play as she was partnering and working with Bidamon. The name is actually Bidamon. It just sounds like a Digimon.
It does.
But Bidamon was one of the world's top researchers at the Sarome during the Age of Legends. And Bidamon just straight up dies. Just straight up dead.
Straight up.
dies.
He just
straight up.
Yeah.
did.
Now-
Death.
Which, I mean, and we're not going into Bidamon, but it's interesting because Robert Jordan has stated, some point that Bidamon had been reborn and was alive in the current age. But Maria was questioned for information and said, I have not yet found anything to indicate who, if anyone, Bidamon is in the current age. But if we come across it buried in the notes, it will be included in the encyclopedia.
Oh, Herod fell. No,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good idea, but there is no information on Bidamon beyond what we already know in the Wheel-Time Companion. So it's safe to say that no information was further available. It could have just been Robert Jordan being like, oh yeah, it's been long enough that, it would be reasonable that Bidamon's soul has been reborn and is doing something. Maybe he did have the idea that Bidamon would be reborn as Herod fell.
Nakomi. Maybe that's why Nakomi's so fucking dope.
That would explain why Nakomi is never felt to channel, but is able to just appear out of nowhere.
I mean, I make some good points on very rare occasions.
Accidentally, but yes. I'll give you this one.
I think that Bidamon gets reborn enough where he goes on to create the Digiverse.
Yes. And he brings in Kai and Joey. Oh, wait, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! My bad.
I mean, close enough. But, that's why all the creatures' names end in Mon,
Yeah, there you go.
Why not?
Anyway, but we're not talking about Mons.
That's it right there. That's the one.
mean, you can't mention Mirren without Bidamon. You're
everybody knows, the dynamic duo, the ride or die, and Lanfear or Mirren chose to ride and Bidamon chose to die. Duo that started a whole bunch of shit.
And Lanfear, also known as Mirren, also known as Lanfear, also known as Celine, also known as Elsa Grinwell, also known as the
daughter of the night.
The daughter of the night. You only adopted the Lanfear. I was born in it. But yeah, no, she is basically a magic researcher in the Age of Legends, and she discovers a number of different things about magic, the power, the new power, which I will say out loud. You guys can tell me your thoughts if you want. I think that it was 100% the Dark One being just like, oh, you want better power? I will dangle this true power in front of you and get you to get me out of my prison.
Yeah. I mean, so think about it like this. Like, just the feat of detecting that power is incredible, because to detect that power and the source of that power through the Dark One, you necessarily have to be able to detect power and stuff outside of literal space and time.
Yes.
You're not detecting a parallel world. You're detecting the spaces in between a parallel world, in between parallel worlds.
Read between the lines.
And so
this one.
This is a really good time to really differentiate, because I know this is confusing for a lot of the new readers, and even a lot of more experienced readers don't really kind of get this.
I put a line in a song about the true power once, and I felt like a fucking evil bitch.
We're going to see this in the show eventually. I don't know how they're going to do it, but we're going to see it. There is a difference between the one power and the true source. Okay.
No. It's the one power is the true source. The true power is the different one. And that's where it gets confusing as fuck, because it's the one power and the true source. And then there's the true power, which sounds like it's just a combination of those two things, but it's not, because we have to be as confusing as fucking possible.
Well, just remember, the one power comes from the one and only true source. The true power
that's
just
not going to help me. That's not going to help me at all.
So
true power sounds like something that like a door-to-door vacuum salesman would tell you, like, this vacuum has true suction power.
Okay, you're not wrong about that one. That definitely sounds fake.
So the big difference here is that the one power comes from the true source, which is
Basically the creator.
the magic of creation throughout time and space. It is broken into two halves, Sidene, Sidar, and the Sidene and Sidar are what our channelers commonly use.
Sidar
Lews
by the
Therin-
women, Sidene by the men.
And once Lews Therin and Mirren discover this additional power, they don't realize it at the time, but what it is literally the essence of the Dark One. It is the essence of destruction. So
Oh, that's what I need. I need the
It
mermaid
is-
man sound effect. Evil.
it is the anti-power to the creator's power,
Anti-matter.
which is the one power. So one power is creator's power, true power is Dark One's power.
And
Now
of
they
course,
find
in the
out-
story, I do want to throw out there, this is actually very important.
Yes.
If you are a new reader, one of the coolest things that you find out in the books, and if you're still here, you don't care about spoilers, which is nice because I can just spoil this for you in some ways, is that throughout the story, you do realize that the one power works this way on the wheel. The true power works this way on the wheel. And together they actually turn the wheel of time.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No, it's the two halves of the one power counter rotating against each other that turns the wheel.
Push
Yes,
and
it
pull.
is. Where's more shoddy
Push.
when I need him to say that yes, he's right?
No, this is why Rand in the end doesn't go ahead and take out the Dark One, because he realizes that if the Dark One is gone, the wheel doesn't turn. Just like if the Dark One is able to destroy the creator, the wheel doesn't turn. But it actually does take light and dark, not just Sidene and Sidar. But okay, this is one of the things that is so confusing about these books. And also one of the things that's very magical in some ways, because one of the things that I have always loved about the story is the Dark One.
So here it is. The one
Already-
power comes from the true source, the driving force of creation, the
Mhm.
force the creator made to turn the wheel of time. Sidene, the male half of the true source, and Sidair, the female half, work
Mhm.
against each other and at the same time together to provide that force. Again, unreliable narrator of Maureen Demandred, but
Well, but
Damodred, not
we
Demandred.
learn. Yes, Damodred. But again, I thought that in the books we actually discovered that again. And I was about to get into this, and not to like say that, oh, you interrupted me, but like no, there is. I always,
I mean, I did.
absolutely
I totally
read
did.
it that the creator made the one power, the one power, the true source.
Right.
It comes from the essence of creation. And this is one of the things where you kind of know inherently on some levels that the creator is good, because the creator went, you know what would be really bad if ultimate power corrupted ultimately. So let's break it up into halves so that no one can actually just straight up use the one true source. Cool.
Yeah.
Men can use this, women can use this. This is what's pushing the wheel this way, if you
Yeah.
will. And then
So-
as a part of that, they also either created, or there already was, or this is all in flux because we never really find out, that there is the Dark One who's pushing the wheel this way as well, which of course is just a fucking wheel, because that's how it works. If you have one like up here going to the one direction and one down here going the other direction, that's how a wheel fucking turns.
So
I
let me
feel like
ask you
we're
a
going to need to
question
do
with
this
that in
on its
mind.
own episode.
Yeah,
I
but
know, right?
let me ask you a question with that in mind.
But it is an interesting tangent.
If the Dark One wants to destroy the wheel,
Okay.
why would he use power to push on the wheel in a mechanism in which would aid in the turning of the wheel?
So I think, okay, so here is the answer to that question, is that I don't think the Dark One has a choice. I think that the true power comes from the Dark One, and he can give sort of control of it and can gift sort of the ability to use it to other people. But I don't think that the Dark One actually has full and utter control over the true source. It's basically the same thing as a river. And it just comes out of and from the Dark One. The same way that the river of Sidar and Sidene comes from the creator. And so in the idea of this, the Dark One can't just go, oh, well, I'm going to fucking stop the true source tomorrow, or the true power tomorrow, and stop the wheel. No, it's a river that just occurs.
Lanfear.
Yeah. Going back to the actual topic.
This is a really good topic that I want to discuss in a later episode.
It's not tonight.
I mean, we're what, like 30 minutes in, and we've like barely touched
Andrew's just right. Andrew's totally right. I like my thoughts, but just because I like my thoughts doesn't make them true.
I like the thought experiment. I like the idea.
Yeah,
but Andrew's just fucking
don't
agree. I know.
So Lanfear has been working on this. They find out what the true source is. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to say that this is her first exposure to the influence of the Dark One.
I agree. Yeah.
Now, what happens shortly after that? Lews Therin breaks up with her, falls in love with and marries Ilyena.
Doesn't she, like, after the breakup become like obsessive with acquiring this new source of power?
It happens before.
If I get stronger, Daddy will love me again.
Well, and again, this is one of the reasons where I'm not totally disagreeing with Josh's statement, but it is Mirren who discovers this. Lews Therin isn't part of this. He has fucked right off to go ahead and be with Ilyena, have children, live a life, do amazing good in some ways with the 100 companions and things like that. I'm not saying that he's like evil or a douche or anything. Like, he's not, but he has gone to live his life with someone else. And so he's not sitting there researching with Mirren anymore. He's not doing that. He's done with her. Mirren with Boca Korikoman, or whatever his name is, discover this as Mirren throws herself into her research because she is still hopelessly devoted to Lews Therin. And she cannot deal with the fact that Lews Therin has fallen in love with someone else and has moved on with his life. And so on some levels, she can't move on with hers. And so, as many of us have done before when we have a bad breakup, and spoiler alert, kids, if you're not married, and even if you are, as you may end up doing if you have a bad breakup, you throw yourself into your work. And she does. And that is when she discovers and is exposed to the true power, which is extremely powerful. And as stated, isn't broken up into male and female. And that's actually
much more volatile.
Also much more volatile. And so she then goes to Lews Therin, whether you think it's because she is seeking his approval, or whether it's because you know he is sort of the ruler of the world at that point in so many ways, is kind of neither here nor there. She goes to Lews Therin and says, Lews, we have discovered this thing. We need to look into it. Yes. And he says, yeah, fucking of course we do. I'm a power-hungry maniac. If there's more power out there, I want it in my dick. So he goes with her to go ahead and check that out. And this is where everything gets fucked.
Well, I don't think he was there. It's never mentioned that he was there. It's mentioned that Mirren was, that Bideman was, and it does say that there were several other channelers and researchers that were there. I don't think Lews Therin was there.
This is in Paradisant.
Yeah,
where they drill into it. Okay, yeah, Lews Therin.
No, this is in the Sharon. This isn't in Paradisant. This is oh fuck, I gotta find it again. It's like
they don't drill in I thought this was the like fucking orb.
Yeah, it is. That's above the
and that's in Sharon,
which is in Vasane. The
Okay.
Sharom is the actual research sphere,
Okay.
and which is floating above Column Decent, which is the University of Research that is
Copy
located
that.
in the city of Vasine.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Excellent. I'm learning so goddamn much tonight.
I love.
I need more
That's why I
shoddy
love
here.
these
My brain's
background
starting to hurt.
breakdowns.
But no, still, this is
So who-
where. So again, regardless of whether Lews Therin is there or not, Mirren and her researchers do.
Oh, now
this
more shoddy shows up.
I know, right?
I mean, hey, glad to have you.
So they go ahead and make a huge fucky wucky because they don't understand what they're
a widow
doing.
fucko boingo.
They don't understand the Dark One's Forever box.
They don't understand the Dark One's Forever box. And they take a power drill and they go, hey, give us access to that sweet, sweet true power. And the Dark One goes, sure, dumb motherfuckers. Guess
Just
who's
let
going to
me
come out with it?
out.
This guy. And he Bollywoods his ass out of the fucking drill hole. They go ahead and jam in there. And that's when all
I can see it now,
hell
like-
kind of breaks loose.
You know,
It's
one of them
not
was
actually
like,
when
hey,
the
Mirren,
breaking starts.
is this a good idea? And Mirren's just like, drill go burr.
Yep,
You guys really
100%.
think we should be doing this?
And yes, he who comes with the wine, there are definite parallels to Pandora's
Yes.
box.
Oh, there
Yes.
absolutely are.
So
Uh,
they drill in. Shit starts getting fucky
They
because
drilling? Is that the first? Is that the first one dead every time? Oh wait, that's Yamcha. My bad.
so they,
You know, you said it, and I thought Krillin, and I was like, no, he's not making a DBZ reference. And then you made me.
Oh, I
laugh.
did.
He went there.
I did.
He went there. So and then shit starts getting fucky because, okay, in the books, as the seals on the Dark One's prison starts to weaken, what happens? We get bubbles of evil, but they're very few and far between. Imagine the entire world literally just unraveling around you because the Dark One's hand is literally reaching out across the pattern into reality to fuck shit up.
Well,
The
and of course,
entire world felt it.
This is one of the interesting things here because we do get a little bit of information about the time between the drill into the bore, basically, or the drill into the Dark One's prison called the bore, and when the breaking actually starts. And the breaking is not this. This is not the breaking.
This is
This
not
is
the
the
breaking.
collapse.
Bad fucky wucky between when they went, hey, we'd like this power, please. And the Dark One said, sure, but it comes with strings.
And then,
This
and then they
event
go,
is called the collapse. It
Yes.
has a name.
Yep. Do
which
we
I
know how
often
long
forget.
it was between the collapse and the breaking? Do we have a time?
It's the span of
If
time
not,
in the
that's
Age
fine.
of Legends after the bore was made, assumably until the breaking, because it's going to be
Morshadi says about 50 years, which I'm not taking as like absolute truth, but
that would make sense.
it
So,
does.
'cause
It sounds about right.
I think the way it happens leads a lot of credence into, because it's very easy for us to kind of Lanfear just tried to save her own ass and was like, I swear allegiance to you. But we already know that the sudden onslaught and push of power from the Dark One, from Shaitan, is able to taint an entire half of the one power.
Right. So let's just even
So-
imagine what it was like for the people who actually
Yeah.
drilled the goddamn hole.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I was getting at. Yeah. You take imagine a little timeless amount of malice and anger and corruption just built up that is released suddenly, and Lanfear, who
Just in like
in
a
terms of
stream,
strings,
just like a handful
Yeah.
of strings of just like
Yeah.
just right out there.
just and you take Lanfear, who is
Just
like
right
one
onto
of the
Lanfear's
strongest, the bukkake of taint, if you will. And you have Lanfear there,
The
who is
pearl
like
necklace of just corruption.
oh,
you have her, who is like one of the strongest female Aes Sedai, considered to be as strong essentially as you can be without the aid of Angreal. So I think that's how she survives physically, but I don't think she survives mentally.
No,
Right.
I agree.
And I
with
think
that.
this, because she doesn't just sit there and at the spot go, I'll serve you. She officially renounces the light and pledges her life to the Dark One in the Hall of Servants itself.
Well, and again, imagine, okay, this is where I'm not actually excusing Lanfear or Mirren for her choices. She is absolutely responsible for her own choices and things that happen. But let's just, the series of events that we just talked about is huge there. We're talking about a woman who people are really rough after a bad breakup. And this is the love of her life, self-proclaimed. Now, again, we never really truly get a Lanfear POV where we go into who she was at that point, where we go into who she was before she turned, where we go into her mental state during any of this. We don't get any of that. We don't. And on some level, that's fine. For the story, you never fucking need to know that. You don't. I would love to. Well, because I'm a fucking Wheel of Time nerd. But like, you don't need it for the story. But we've all been through a breakup. You are not fully equipped to deal with everything that life has to throw at you when you are in that state. You just don't. Now make whatever life is throwing at you a billion times worse.
Yes.
And tainted with malice and horror and evil and selfishness and greed and everything that the Dark One is about. And now just jam that into the brain of somebody who is already not in a great place. Like, holy shit, it's amazing that she made it through at all. Which, granted, again, as servants of the light, all of us here are like, maybe it would have been nice if you hadn't made it out. But at the same time,
well, and
like,
given
I
what
don't wish anyone like actually actively dead. And so on some level, I'm happy for her that she survived,
yes,
especially with all of this shit that was going on in her own life. Anyway,
well,
Josh.
And we, based on what we know about the Dark One's taint or the corruption or the influence of the Dark One, is that the darkness will prey on darkness. Mm-hmm. So she's in a very bad place. She's feeling very, and we even see this within the show. She's feeling very self-doubting. She's feeling very depressed. She's feeling very angry. She's feeling very spurned and
her
bitter.
Parents are probably mad at her.
Yeah, her parents probably hate her and left her sisters in the village when the Trollocs. No, but based on what we know about this, she is a perfect candidate for this. And so,
what was her reason for joining? Playing with the adult version of Legos. Just mixing and matching his Barbie dolls and GI Joe figurines.
There you go.
What was her reason for joining?
Oh my god!
Does anybody remember?
Agenor is the Sid of
nice.
Yikes!
So right, Sid is Agenor in a different age. It's confirmed here. Canon
confirmed. You heard it here first.
She was promised by the Dark One that they would turn Lews Therin to the shadow and that she could have him.
Yes.
The Dark One came at her with what she wanted more than anything in the world and broke her. I don't think we get a very like real sense in the books of, oh, they're the Forsaken. They forsook the light. We're terrified of them. But how dare they forsake the light? Like, that's disgusting. How could anybody do that? But when you take us, and that's why we do these background
shitty ass reasons.
I mean,
but
some of them do. But that's why we do these background breakdowns, because everyone's a victim when it comes to touching the shadow.
Everyone's a victim.
Everyone. When it comes to touching the shadow, shut up.
I love that phrase, that all of the Forsaken are actually victims. Now, Again,
they don't know
I'm not
yet.
trying to take away their agency, and I'm not trying to give them a pass, because that is different. Those two things are different, and I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to give them a victim mindset or anything, because those are different things. But that is what the Dark One is good at. Yes. That is literally his entire purpose, is chaos and fucking with people. And so the fact that there are 13 people that he found to really fuck with, and the fact that they went ahead and turned because he really fucked with them, again, I don't want to give them a pass. They are not justified. But at least as a human being who is objective and intelligent, you understand them. And there is a difference between agreeing and understanding. But I understand every one of the Forsaken.
Yeah. So from here, she declares herself, I am forsaken of the light. I forsake the light. I pledge my allegiance to the Dark One. And takes the name Lanfear and instantly becomes one of the Dark One's fiercest soldiers.
Well, she has a goal.
Yeah. She
has an absolute goal.
She's in it. She's ready to go. Up until the time when Lews Therin and the 100 companions say, enough is enough. And they attack the Dark One directly and seal the bore with all the Forsaken in it, which I'd like to know more about how that, did they just have some intel? Were they just like, you know what? All of them are at the bore right now. We should go seal them all in right now. Or was that like a happy,
or were they like bungee corded to the Dark One? And so when they sealed the Dark One away again, even though it was imperfect, all of the Forsaken were like, oh God, Daddy's calling.
I think you're right. That's what I was going to think. Because when we see Brand and everybody at the Eye of the World encountering
Agenor and Balthamel.
Yes, Agenor and Balthamel, the fucking beef guy.
Baltha fucking dick.
One of the ways that Rand kind of deals with them is he severs. He severs the cord. He severs the cord of shadow. So it seems like there is something about being forsaken that ties you to the Dark One, which makes sense because if you're able to intervene and like give rebirth to souls, it would stand to reason that you're able to intercept connection.
Yep.
Yeah. So think of Sword Art Online went from being a good anime to being a bleh anime with the Alfheim Online segment. They intercepted
so like episode 1
of like the Alfheim Online part. Yeah, sure.
So I love that you guys love anime. I also don't.
It kind of gives new light on Lews Therin attacking the Dark One as well, because everybody says that he was arrogant in his attempt to attack the Dark One directly, and I'm kind of like, if you've been watching for the last several decades the world falling apart and you're in the middle of the world of the war of power and you see an opportunity to end it, I kind of feel like that was a good move.
Yes and no, because the thing here that is interesting about the arrogance and the whatever is I don't think anyone, and one of the things I absolutely will love about the Wheel of Time forever, and is one of the reasons that I've read this book so many fucking times and so many like all of the things, is that no one actually has a real picture of what's going on. That is what the books is all about. But at the same time, that's actually one of the things where I think that people have a better idea of what went on than, a lot of other things. Because when Rand goes to destroy the Dark One, he is also almost as arrogant as Lews Therin. He goes to destroy the Dark One, not to imprison him, not to shore up the bore, not to go ahead and do all of these other sort of like preventative measures. to make sure that the Dark One can't affect the world anymore. He goes there to destroy the Dark One. Also, sure. Rand, as a child in some ways, in the earlier books, regularly tries to kill the Dark One. Now, he always fails because it's never the fucking Dark One, but he does try many times. And I think that is also arrogance. And I think that Lews Therin also had that. If he went there in so many ways to stop the Dark One, to imprison the Dark One again, to shore up the hole that was made, to do any of these things, I think that he wouldn't be known as such an arrogant fuck. And he probably would have been successful in so many ways. But the problem with the attempt that Lews Therin makes is that he actually does go to do what Rand does. Right. But he doesn't have the conversation outside of space-time with the Dark One. He doesn't have Zen
that
Rand's
we know of.
Fucking sure, but he doesn't have Bodhisattva Rand's temperament and everything. He just goes, me and my 100 companions are gonna fuck you right up, Dark One. And the Dark One goes, you can't kill me, motherfucker. And that's when he swings back on Lews Therin.
Is that arrogance or was that ignorance, though? Keep in mind,
a little bit of both.
Rand is able to learn from his previous mistakes due to the nature of his madness. He has access to Lews Therin's memories, et cetera, et cetera.
Not really.
Kind of really.
It's his own madness. It's madness.
It is madness.
But yeah. No, there are unexplainable things.
He comes to the realization that he can't just, he just can't, kill the Dark One because he sees the difference in the worlds that the Dark One shows him and that he tries to see, or that he shows the Dark One. And he recognizes that, the Sith way, the absolute way, isn't the way forward. Kind of like it's a hallmark back to Christianity kind of thing. Like, there's no point to faith and followership if you have no choice. There is no good without evil, that kind of thing. Anyway, Lanfear, because these tangents have been brought to you by We Are the Way We Are, and this is what we fucking do.
Why are Lanfear. You like this?
That's what I ask myself every morning for like 5 minutes in the mirror. Just, hey, you, don't be you today. Be a better. And it never works. But Lanfear, because what we actually see Lanfear do in the series, not necessarily, what we learn about Lanfear and what she's done in the past and how she fucked up royally in the past and how she fucks up in the series that we've seen are definitely entertaining moments. But as a character herself, it's incredibly, she's incredibly interesting. So we find out that from the moment she has been released from the board, other people are like, let me establish a domain to rule. Let me establish a safe haven. Let me do all this stuff. But Lanfear's like, let me find my boo. Because he didn't want me, 3,000 years ago. Maybe after 3,000 years, his reborn soul has changed his mind.
I can seduce him now. He's a kid.
He kind of did.
I mean, yeah.
To give him too little credit, but also like
oh yeah, it was very, it very nearly worked. Because when we first see her, you can figure it out with context clues, at least by the end of the book, by the end of the Great Hunt. But the first time we actually see Lanfear in the books is as Selene, whenever Rand and Huron and Loyal accidentally get teleported into an alternate world via portal stone. I think that was 100% Selene just popping up being like, they're asleep? Good.
Yes.
Excellent, Smithers. Yeah. Excellent.
And so that's when we first see Selene playing, her best Daphne impression of being the damsel in distress.
Jinkies.
And Rand
Velma, but okay.
Being the... yes, Velma is Jinkies, but Daphne is always the damsel in distress.
Sorry. You were correct with Daphne. He was incorrect with the Jinkies.
We got there. We
did.
There.
I'm pretty sure Daphne's key phrase from Scooby-Doo is, "Oh, Fred, deeper."
It's let's split up, gang.
Let's split up, gang. Shaggy,
so that
Scooby,
Fred
you
can
go over
split
there.
Me up.
Yeah, you guys go search the entire area. We're gonna go upstairs.
So Lanfear makes her attempts as
Though,
Celine.
let's all be honest for literally just a moment. Velma always goes with them. It's always Scooby and Shaggy alone.
True.
And Velma's always with Daphne and Fred. So everybody always makes this joke. And I'm not saying it's not legit, but we all know Velma's either watching or involved, is what I'm saying. That's just what. Anyway, continue. Josh, you were going to say.
I was just going to say, Lanfear. No, I love exactly where you went with that, Andrew. Lanfear like immediately sets herself up as, I am going to seduce Lews Therin again. And this time I'm going to make sure that he doesn't meet that trollop Ilyena. And the funny thing is that she meets him.
But he already has, though.
Yeah.
She meets him a little too soon. And he's like still too much hay in his hair, still too backwater, still too old fashioned. And she comes on a little too strong. And he gets a little like weirded out. He's like, okay, sexy lady who wants to touch my bits. Like,
she's incredibly successful at seducing Huron, though. Let's be honest.
Huron was about it. He wanted that.
Man, that lady Celine, the only reason he doesn't bang that hard against the table is because of Lord Rand. Lord Rand gets Celine, first choice. Huron gets sloppy seconds, and Rand never takes first choice. So
Celine kind of disappears. And she's like, I'll think about you, and kind of disappears. And we don't see her again. I don't think we ever see Celine again.
No, we do.
We do.
So sorry, I shouldn't say that. It depends on what you're talking about. The first time she disappears is after they come back from the mirror world, go to Kyrian, and she goes, I'm out, and leaves him a letter. And then she shows up again in the Illuminators.
You're right.
And then she fucks off. And that point, you're right. We don't see Celine again at all.
And then she
so we see Celine twice, effectively.
Yes.
Which is all the same story arc on some levels.
And then we
see different people.
we see Kill Shaugi.
Before that, we see Sylvie. Who is the haggard old woman that appears to Egwene and Teleron Riad.
Yep.
Yes.
At the heart of the stone is like, oh, this is what Kalendor is.
I forgot about that.
That's right. She does show up as Celine in Tyr after Rand already knows who she is, but she does show up as Celine in Tyr with when she talks about Kalendor, and she's like, you're running around here with the power of the dragon, but upstairs, unguarded, is the most powerful. And you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Doesn't she like actually reveal herself at that point as well?
Basically.
She does.
I mean, again, she's still
basically, she fully does, and then immediately shields him.
Yeah. But she's still okay. So again, this is one of the interesting things because it's hard to say whether she is Lanfear as Celine, but she's calling herself Celine so she doesn't scare him off. But that's actually her, like, that is Mirren / Lanfear, but she knows that he's not going to recognize her, so it doesn't fucking matter. Or whether she actually is a different person in the Stone of Tyr, like no Mask of Mirrors or whatever. It's hard to say. But it doesn't matter. Like
I thought for sure that she appeared to him and then dropped the Mask of Mirrors and was like, look at me, I'm beautiful.
Is that okay?
I don't remember if she actually Mask of Mirrors. I don't remember if she did or didn't, but she definitely reveals her true identity.
That is,
and then shields Rand, and she's like,
basically knows. He's like, that bitch was Lanfear, and she's like,
and she's like, together we could destroy literal evil itself and rule as husband and wife. And Rand's like,
has anyone told you the story of Mirren the Wise? Not a story Moraine would have told you.
Yeah. I know Perrin does see her in Teleron Riad as well.
The Mask of Mirrors. Okay. So she appears as Celine and then drops it. So
Celine
is not Lanfear's actual whatever.
Yeah.
So
because Perrin sees her chiding Ishmael for making free use of her domain. because
Yes.
Lanfear is regarded as like being the master of Teleron. You know, that's
Even
kind
though
of
we
her
all
thing.
know it's actually Moghedian, but Lanfear's the face and Moghedian is the nuts and bolts. Like,
The
let's
man
be
in the chair.
honest. Yes, everyone needs a man in a chair, like Ned.
Yeah. So it's after the Stone of Tear when they're
I got
traveling in the Isle Waste. Yes, we do see Lanfear as Kelly's show guy.
Yes.
Which is where Matt gets his iconic hat.
Correct.
That I think I'm going to go back to the mall and buy that hat instead of.
Oh, I thought you did.
I did not. I took a picture of it, but I did not buy it. But I'm probably going to go back and get it.
And of course, Matt actually. Well, is it Matt? It's one of the three girls and/or Matt. I don't remember how many of them actually see. But we find out later that Lanfear has been in the tower, parading as someone that Matt ostensibly knows, which is Elsa Grinwell, who is a farm girl who we see one time in the first book. And then all of a sudden later on, and you're like, oh shit.
She was making
this bitch
eyes
is
at
back.
the
And
little
then you're
vagabond
like,
boy
oh,
going through.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Elsa Grinwell's not actually back. She hasn't ever been back.
Yeah, no,
you're a
Elsa
little
was
questioning-
dead. Sorry.
Well, I don't know if that's actually true. It's a question as far as whether Elsa Grinwell actually is dead or whether Lanfear or whether she's on the farm, like still elsewhere, having no fucking idea that some bitch wearing her face is in the tower.
I thought that they found Elsa Grinwell dead at one point in time.
In the tower? Is that
not in the tower?
Oh,
but somewhere else. It was like suggested that Elsa Grinwell was dead.
No, they don't find her dead. Her
remember.
status is regarded as alive.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I suck.
But anyway, it doesn't really matter in the end.
The point
Because
is,
we know
Lanfear
that
is
Lanfear used her
busy.
face.
Go ahead. Andrew.
And then we get
I was saying, like, Elsa been like sent away and was presumably just went back to the family farm because though she could channel, she didn't have enough strength to make it beyond novice.
That's what I thought.
They sent her away, and Lanfear was like, "Huh, I shall use this to my benefit."
Well, also, like, let's be honest, she seems to know, like, in her jingly bits, who has seen and made eyes at her boo. And so, like, I think she chooses Elsa because she's like, oh, you've seen Rand? You wanted to fuck Rand? Great. Then I'm going to choose to be.
Yeah, you're right. Morshadi's right. It was a combination of presumable low potential, but also shirking all of her duties and studies and instead
Checking
trying
out
to
all the
ogle
men.
the waters.
And going
Ogling
and
all the
looking at
men.
Gawain and Galad.
All
She's too
the men.
distracted by the well-turned calves to do her duty.
But anyway.
Point
the
is, at this
next
point in
that
time,
we see Lanfear, and one of the most important scenes that we see, because I think we're at this point, is
I know where you're going.
Been
And
through
yes.
the way, or we've been through the Isle Waste with the merchants, and also a number of the Rand and his now Isle retinue.
Yeah, because Keel Shiogi is the head of the
merchant
caravan that has been traveling with Rand and the Aiel back across the threefold land back into the wetlands. Sorry.
Correct. And in fact, there is a woman who's traveling with them that Rand is very suspicious of and even thinks might be who Lanfear is parading as because he knows that she does that shit now. And he's wrong. He's 100% wrong.
He's so wrong.
He's so fucking wrong.
No.
And it's hilarious. It's one of the great reveals in the books because you're like, oh, is Rand right? Is it this super attractive woman? Because Lanfear likes to do that and is trying to get into his bedchamber because she loves Lews Therin. And you're like, no,
Nope.
it's this other person.
Nope.
And she shows up at the docks in Kyrian. After the city has been saved, from the Shido, who had been sieging it, and Moraine has been basically told that her future is this scene.
Yes.
This is what's happening to her. And that if Rand gets his shit together, she doesn't have to die. And if he doesn't, she probably has to fucking kill herself. But
well, we've got
I think all she sees is like if she does nothing, Rand dies.
Sorry, that's right. Yes.
If
she doesn't actually
Rand
see that
tries to fight Lanfear, Rand dies. And the only way to save the Dragon Reborn is if Moraine is willing to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
So there
she does also get a hint, and brief tangent on Moraine because we've already talked about Moraine 1,000 times. She does basically get the hint that she can be that she can be saved, that it is possible, though highly unlikely.
So we go down to the docks, and Moraine is very cagey about this, which I know super surprising for Moraine because she's always incredibly.
I was just going to say. Real quick, though, there are two important factors to note in this scene. One, the igloo scene has already happened.
Sure.
Okay. Avienda has
the
taken
igloo scene,
Rand's V card.
I have known
in the
him.
Books, yes.
In the books, yes.
Yep. I just, yes.
And two, this merchant caravan is still with them. And they have now been hired to carry all of the Tirangrial, Angreal, Sangreal, all of the things from Ruidian and that's where they're all at. They're all at the docks.
You use funny words.
We're talking about whenever Lanfear literally kills the messenger. Got it.
Yeah. So Lanfear goes down to the docks.
I'll shut up.
No, you're good. No, you're
right.
Completely right. Yeah.
That's what happened. And then Lanfear's there.
Right. So Lanfear goes down to the docks. She doesn't know that this is going to happen in the future. Moraine does. And so two things are sort of happening simultaneously. Lanfear is going down to talk to one of the other merchants, basically the other leader, who's a dark friend, but not a Forsaken of Kaderi. The merchants. Yes. Kaderi. Yes. About information that he's gathered and things like that. And I don't think they're friends, but she's using him for his, abilities. And he does have a handful of them, even though he's a total piece of shit. So she goes down and she talks to him about some shit. Moraine knows that this shit's going to happen and goes, cool. So I need myself. I need Egwene and I need Rand. And we need to go down to the docks. And Avienda's there as well?
Yep.
Avienda's there as well.
Yep. So. It's Avienda, Egwene, and Moraine. And
it's
Rand.
Those four. Yeah. So she grabs those three and herself and goes, we're going down to the docks. And Rand goes, why? And she goes, I can't tell you that. And he goes, just what else is because. And then she's like, Egwene and Avienda, you also have to come. And Avienda's like, sure, I guess I'll go if Rand's going. And Egwene goes, I'll go if Moraine's going. So they all go down to the docks.
This is starting to sound like a really bad joke. So a madman, an Aes Sedai, an Aiel, and a trainee
and an accepted
walk down to the docks.
Or and a wise one apprentice walk down to the docks. So they get down to the docks where there is, as Josh has already stated and is important in this story, a number of Terangrial and or Angreal and or Sangreal and or other things that maybe kind of look like shit that have been loaded onto wagons in Ruidian and brought back to Carrion thanks to these merchants. He used the word hired, but I think it was more mandated. But anyway, so they all go down to the docks. There is this red stone Terangrial doorway, which we've already seen a couple of times. A different one before, and this one in Ruidian. And they get down there, and Rand goes, what did you want us to see, Moraine? And she goes, I don't know. I just need to be here. And all of a sudden, a wagon explodes. And Lanfear, Lanfear walks out with the skinned corpse of the man that she has been talking. Sorry, of the skin, not the corpse. She left that part behind. She just
the corpse is there. The skin.
Yes, the skin of the man that she's been talking to because he has given her information that Avienda has taken Rand's V card, and she is beside
I think it's a misunderstanding.
herself.
I don't think he actually knows that they fucked. I
Correct,
think he
but he has
knows
his
that
suspicions.
Avienda has been spending every night with Rand. So
For example, yes.
I think Lanfear pretty much goes, who are they or what are they doing here? And he makes the offhand comment like, I don't know, but the Avienda
Probably
girl
they're
has
fucking.
been sleeping with Rand. And
And
Lanfear
he doesn't even
goes
finish the statement, and she already skins him.
Yeah. And Lanfear goes full tilt, obsessive, like crazy possessive, and literally kills the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Explodes the wagon.
So she comes out of the
pops
wagon.
the fuck out, and should get the use if the entire series only gets one use of the F word. It should be Lanfear popping out and going, "Who the fuck is Avienda?"
Well, and this is part of my favorite. Okay, so this scene is fantastic. This happens, and I'm just going to relay just the events of this scene, and then I'm going to go back for just a moment afterwards, tell you my favorite goddamn part. So, Lanfear pops out of the wagon. She says, "Who is Avienda?" Shields everyone. Because she is like Nynaeve level angry at this point, and her power is not
terrifying.
Can you imagine being Avienda being like, "Holy shit, and I dip"?
Well, and so she shields everyone: Rand, Egwene, Avienda, Moiraine. Rand knows that he can do something about this because Lanfear, in her arrogance in some ways, does not have him trapped, does not have him bound, does not have him anything. She just has him cut off from the one power. And Rand knows in some ways that he could walk up to her and stab her in the face, but he has a thing about hurting women, so he doesn't do it. At which point, Moiraine goes, "Leroy Jenkins!" Just tackles Lanfear through the redstone Terangrial doorway, and it melts. Lanfear was holding so much of the
or live
power.
long enough to be yoked.
Right? She was channeling so much of the one power and in so much of a destructive way, especially when she gets tackled, that she melts a Terangrial to a lump of useless bullshit.
I always
which is not something that happens lightly. Holy shit. Okay, so that's the events. Rand's safe, Egwene's safe, Avienda's safe, Moraine's whole thing is totally in jeopardy. You absolutely think she's dead for a long time. Anyway, what I think is amazing in this scene, we see this from Avienda's perspective. She hears, "Who's this bitch Avienda?" And she goes, "Oh shit, I has fucked up." But then Lanfear looks at Egwene and goes, "Are you Avienda, brother?" And Egwene's just like, "Oh shit, I've been Avienda basically my whole life. I didn't actually sleep with Rand, but let's be honest,
not in the books
I've wanted to many times. That's over now. But it doesn't mean it wasn't true for a while." And she's like, "Oh shit, am I Avienda?"
Am I Avienda?
But before she actually gets the chance to like reveal it, and before Lanfear like turns to Avienda and anybody is honest with her, she gets tackled through a redstone doorway. So again, that's one of my favorite goddamn parts about this scene. This is such an epic scene, and it's got a huge list of things that are awesome.
You know what we need to do at JordanCon?
My favorite part is still that Lanfear just looks at Egwene and goes, "Are you Avienda?" And Egwene goes, "Fuck, am I Avienda?"
You know what we need to do at JordanCon now? We need to like carry around a redstone doorway, and just randomly around while people are doing stuff, one of us pops out and is like, "Who the fuck is Avienda?" And then the other one just tackles the other one through the doorway.
I always loved
done, Andrew.
I always loved,
and then we don't show up for the rest of the day. It's a once a day phenomenon.
That's how we peace out. That's how we peace out. We get pool noodles.
There we go.
I'm in. Full send.
Full stop.
I love this scene because I always think of
cap.
Bavmorda and Finn Razel from Willow, when it's like the two old magic ladies and they're like wizards dueling each other, but then towards the end it turns into a fucking brawl and they're just like and they're like punching each other.
Out of magic. They're like, I'm done with this. Just slap fight.
And Moraine and Lanfear, that's what it was. Moraine's like, no, and they're like,
and again, another thing of the 1,000 things that I love about this scene is that Lanfear is so absolutely blinders on one of the two girls that's on either side of Rand that she's like, this Moraine bitch is nothing. Like, she's absolutely not Avienda. I know who she is. Get out of my face. And then Moraine's like, oh, get out of your face? Get out of your face, huh? Huh? Great, Colin Kaepernick. I'm coming to tackle your ass. Anyway.
And that's the one advantage that Moraine had over Lanfear, because Lanfear had done everything with the power always. And in the Third Age, they learned sometimes you don't have the power. You need to be able to improvise.
Just imagine this whole like following sequence from not Avienda's perspective, from Lanfear's perspective. You spent all this time trying to convince your reincarnated boo thing to join with you. You find out that he's been intimate with somebody else, or at least alleged, even though we know it did happen, but she probably doesn't know that it actually happened.
She doesn't need to know. She feels it in her jinglies.
Yeah. You get tackled through a Terangri all that is destroyed in the process. You are captured and fed on by the Fen. And then finally, one of your forsaken partners, kind of partners loosely, shows up, bargains for your release, and brings you out of the Fen's domain. And you're like, okay, I can get back to it. And then he's just like, dead.
By the way,
and
this
kills
this
you.
Is your
literally so.
No. He doesn't.
Literally kills her so that she can be reborn by the Dark One, and then puts her soul in a Korsuvra. And then
you mean
names her Sindane. Literally names her Sindane, like, this is your last chance, and forces her to wear red and black, the official colors of Moradin.
Moradin is flexing so hard right now,
dude,
because he's like, oh, Lanfear. Yes, even among the Forsaken, she's legendary, and I control her. If you wanted any more evidence,
then I'm sure she looks at him and I'm pretty sure she looks at me. She's like, "Who the fuck do you think you are, bitch?" Like, and he's like,
and then he holds up the Korsuvra and he goes,
he does that, and then she looks closer. She looks closer at his eyes and sees that all the floaties in his eyes have turned into black saw, and she's like,
"Oh shit!
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! No!
So I love
Amazon # Daniel for Moradin. Just saying again. It's a great.
He's sexy enough,
and I think
Daniel is super sexy.
That's not true. You're gonna need to do a little bit of work.
So hot,
but I can go ahead and stroke a Korsuvra like nobody's goddamn business.
I don't want to know what you do with your Korsuvra, buddy.
I'll be an extra.
Not on the show
for a personal trainer that like whips me into shape, and we're good.
Oh yeah, dude.
Well,
are you kidding me?
Besides, you can't be Moradin because we're all going to be Ashaman in the Black Tower.
No, I'm going to be Moradin. You guys are Androl. Androl.
I'm Androl.
Yeah. Am I pointing at you?
I don't know.
Andrew, am I pointing at him?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yay!
Androl,
I want to be the Shiva.
Dammer Flynn. Oh, sorry, Deshiva.
No, Dahmer Flynn is old.
No, you get to choose whoever you want. I'm not actually trying to make the decision for you. Sexy Morshadi, you get to be
Narishma?
no. Morshadi,
he doesn't have
you get
bells
to
in his
be fucking who's the actual Soravan male?
Shit.
Aaron?
No. Dickhead. No, I'm blanking on his name right now. The only one I have right now is Eben Hopwell, and I know that's 100% wrong, but I feel like there's
Gedwin.
Chell Gedwin, or not Chell Gedwin.
Charles
Gedwin.
Charles.
Yeah, sexy Morshadi
Charles, but without the ES.
Yeah, you get to be evil, motherfucker, because we all know you are. You fact checking motherfucker. We're
gonna work out a deal with Amazon Prime to include a Patreon tier
because
that allows you to be
shills.
an Ashaman extra.
Because we're corporate sellouts.
Oh yeah,
we always have been.
We might as well because we've worked with Amazon now once, so we're obviously bought out by Amazon to positively review the show.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
To everybody who says
Obviously.
we're corporate shills and we've been bought out by Amazon, I wish.
Especially now that it sounds like you broke something on your desk.
I know, right?
Okay, so it's my Harry Potter wand.
Fucking wand.
That was
it broke me wand.
Yeah, sorry.
Which wand is that?
This right here is the one that I got at Ollivanders. This was selected for me.
What is it, you
inches with a dragon heartstring core? It is made of poplar.
Thank you, Jesus fucking Christ!
I was getting there. Shit. Anyway,
you guys so much. You guys are amazing.
Zindane, last chance. I think one of the things I love most, I think the story arc I love most about Lanfear comes after she becomes Zindane, because that's when she shows, in my opinion, the most amount of resourcefulness. She is literally, her soul is captured in a Korsubra, and Moradin holds this Korsubra and basically controls everything she does. And she still finds time to wander Teleranriad. She still finds time to manipulate events. And she's kind of the point where she's like, fuck the Dark One. Fuck Moradin. I'm pissed off.
Fuck you.
I was promised
you.
Lews Therin, and I'm not getting Lews Therin, and I'm a little pissed about it. So she starts not actively like sabotaging, but she's not helping either. She's like,
you said in my oaths I couldn't go against you, but you didn't say anything about inactivity fucking you.
So let's talk about how Lanfear is finally broken from her absolute obsession with Lews Therin.
yes.
And it's literally Rand gives her one final chance at redemption and looks at her and says that if she will open her mind completely to him so that she can hide nothing of her plans, of her schemes to him, he will free her if he sees nothing evil there. And she goes, fuck that. And he's like, okay, here's my mind. And she sees that he will never, ever love her.
Ever.
And goes, oh, well, I'm going to give up on you, and follows the trend of Bear Lane and then switches to Perrin.
Dude, everyone switches with Perrin.
I mean,
is Perrin a switch?
Especially Fael.
I mean, Lila didn't switch with Perrin anymore, so.
Oh,
What'd you say? Who's gotta die for us,
dude? No, but Lanfear, I love that.
Yikes.
She not only experiences, because like you said, he opens his mind to her and says, I don't love you. I didn't love you, and I will never love you. And she's like,
the wheel of time turns, ages come to pass, but you will always be the crazy bitch.
She shook like as she should be. And so she's kind of like, she's in a bit of an existential crisis, because her reason for joining the forces of the shadow was to win Lews Therin.
Yeah.
And now she knows that she will never have Lews Therin as a willing, loving companion. And that's cut her to the quick.
Which is kind of fucky in general, because, okay, again,
Ow.
I am already...
when you said cut to the quick, I immediately like just got the sensation in like one of my fingers about like somebody literally clipping my fingernail back to the quick.
Stop.
And it
Stop.
hurt.
Stop doing that. But I have to admit, this is where, you know, I've talked about already in this episode, Lanfear getting a little bit of a bad rap, because she does. But at the same time, this is also one of the points where you realize just how much of that bad rap is actually warranted. Yeah. Because she joins the shadow to make a man love her willingly. What kind of fucking idiot?
Well, that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, though.
Devil to make a man love her or woman. What kind of man does that to a woman? What kind of woman does that to a man? What kind of woman does that to a woman? What kind of man does that to a man?
Does that to a person?
What kind of person does that to a person? Because on some level, like, again, Lews Therin was a bit of a dick. He really was. He was a bit of a dick. Now, maybe not as much as he was sort of purported, but he was definitely a bit of a dick. Also, Rand is a good person when she meets him. Not the whole time, but when she meets him, he's a good person. And she's still on this thing about, like, you promised me Lews Therin. Give me Lews Therin. And the Dark One's like, sure, I'll give you Lews Therin. Just give me Lews Therin first, and then I'll give it to you. And it's like, no, as a willing participant. And the Dark One's like, sure, as a willing participant.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Right? And like at that point, again, when Rand shows her his mind, the idea that Lanfear could, or Sindain at this point, could actually believe that Rand al'Thor, at least, if not just reincarnated Lews Therin, would ever actually love her,
right,
for all of the things that she's done is so insane to me. It really is. Because again, I think that she is very hurt. I think that she gets a lot of really shitty things done to her, and that I think that she gets a lot of really shitty things said about her and all of this different stuff. And I don't think that Lanfear is actually everything that people make her out to be. She definitely takes on a lot of boogeyman. But at the same time, like, she is already shitty enough in so many ways that, like, it kind of doesn't matter after a certain point. But also, like, yikes, is it hard to say that, because life made her that way as well? And so, like, this is so, it's just such a rough character, because I see, again, one of the things that I'm gonna say, I don't know if everybody's gonna agree with me all the time, but one of the things that I'm gonna say about just about all of these 13 goddamn Forsaken is that I understand them. I don't agree with their choices. I'm not saying I've always done the right thing every time, but I don't agree with their goddamn choices.
Right.
But the idea that they aren't people who have really messed up and on some levels can't easily turn back because they're in so deep is That is a thing that is a driving force behind all of these Forsaken. And I think that Lanfear is actually one of the most intense examples of that, of she made some dumb decisions and then ended up so deep that she just can't go back easily. Now, as stated, Rand gives her the choices. She does get chances to turn back, and she ends up not doing it. And that is a personality flaw. That is a thing where she is actually, in so many ways, sort of evil as a character. But fuck, there was so much to get her there. It didn't happen overnight.
Well, you can even say she gets more chances with Perrin.
True.
Because she does appear to Perrin while he's chasing Slayer and tries to portray herself as having switched sides, have, come to the realization that she was wrong. And it does have some beneficial effects, that
it does.
She helps him incapacitate guards, remove the dream spike from the Black Tower, how to nullify its effects. Does tip him off that Grendel is weaving compulsion on all of the generals.
Yeah.
And even heals him and Gaul during a lull in the fight with Slayer.
Yes.
And
so she does do a lot of good things in some ways.
Yeah, I remember reading it, and it actually does do a lot to lull the reader into a sense that Lanfear has changed. But then she defaults back to Lanfear, or Sindane, of course.
Yes,
and
at this point,
literally weaves compulsion on Perrin to have him kill Moraine at the same time that Sindane is going to kill Nynaeve. But in between Perrin's duality of wolf and man and his love for Fael, he's able to overcome compulsion and is just and snaps her neck.
Deus Ex Machina.
And last chance. Used up their last chance.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
which again, the craziest part is yikes. I like that you said, it lulls the reader into a false sense of security, but it's also a question of how much of that was honest and how much of that was deception. It's so hard to tell at that point because even though it was
honest until she sees an avenue to seize power. She is power hungry. That is, if you take anything from the Forsaken as a commonality amongst all Forsaken, including Ishmael, it is a desire for power. Now, what they want to do with that power differs from Forsaken to Forsaken. Ishmael / Morden desires the power to permanently terminate his existence. Right. So, and
he'll fire me, Daddy.
He plays statistics. He's like, who am I going to go with? The people that have to win every single time? Or the person that only, or the being that only has to win once. I'm going to go with the one that just has to win once, and eventually,
put all his eggs in one basket.
And then of course I love when he gets to the end, as you said, when he is just like, "Oh wait, you guys are actually winning the hardest right now. Great, you guys. I'm not going to do this 100% willingly, but fuck me up, Daddy." Get me out of here.
There's definitely an aspect of Morden that looks at the situation, sees what Rand is doing, and is like, you know what? If he fully seals away Shaitan, then Shaitan cannot force me into rebirth, and I can die.
Well, I also love the idea that
Morden just takes a lesson from Lan. He does the ultimate sheathing of the sword so that he can finally be at peace.
Well, I also love how, again, there's also a little bit of a question for me in my own, sort of headcanon and heart in some ways about, does Moradin kind of think that even if Rand isn't successful, that just not being Moradin anymore, being the body switch is just going to confuse the Dark One enough to let him die? The Dark One's not going to try to bring Rand back from the dead, and then he'll realize it was a Shamael and be like, God damn it! I would love that. I would love that so hard to find out that the Dark One even still can touch the world enough to bring a Shamael back from the dead, but he just misses it because he's in Rand's body.
Rand just comes back, or Morden just comes back like one of the Three Stooges. All sorry, you made a mistake, boss.
Right?
I don't know. I love where
Curly.
you went. Yeah, there you.
Who's the bald one from Three Stooges? That's Curly, right?
Yeah,
That's
Curly.
Yeah.
I love that you brought up her interactions with Perrin, because God, she gave Perrin so much. Not only did she say, "Oh, look, this is a dream spike," huh? She taught him how to use it. She said, "Hey, if you put it over there, that will be great." She really did a convincing job of making Perrin think, and thus the reader think, that she had changed sides and she was a victim and now wanted to be rescued.
Yes.
I'm going to do is call it a pro gamer move.
It's big brain time.
So my final thoughts when it comes to Lanfear is, you have a severely broken woman who essentially was taken advantage of.
Oh, 100%.
And she manages to recover somewhat. She's still a very intelligent woman.
Yes.
And she's still, regardless of her situation, has every ability of making sure that her own self-interest is preserved. And she, like the rest of the Forsaken, has her own agenda. But I feel like she is one of the few that have the intelligence, tenacity, and power to actually still work towards that goal, but in a very Gowan-esque way.
You
never makes the choice of being like, I fucked up. Never once looks back and goes, am I the baddie? And so I think that's what
she knows who she is.
I mean,
she goes, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Lanfear, the Gowan of the Chosen.
You're adorable. Belial is the Gowan of the Chosen.
Yeah,
come on.
It's true. I don't know. I think it's actually a really great character. It is an amazing character. And I love her contribution to the story overall. And I feel like I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the TV show. I'm here for it. I love it. And so as far as characters go, 10 out of 10. Because
would do again.
Amazing. She's amazing. I love it.
I've mostly
Daniel. Go.
I was going to say, I've mostly given my thoughts. I'm just going to sort of consolidate them for a moment in a handful of sentences. I also agree with Josh. I mean, I love the Forsaken in terms of the fact that I understand the Forsaken. Obviously, I don't love them because they're shadow people, but also
Forsaken did nothing wrong.
I love their characterization. I actually think that every Forsaken that we actually get any kind of deep dive into, I understand. I don't agree with them all, but I do understand them. And I love that. Whenever you can Thanos or, Ronan the Accuser or, any villain that you, or Joker or Bane, any of these villains that you can absolutely understand. I always really appreciate that as far as villains are concerned, because one-dimensional villains are just as bad, if not worse, than one-dimensional protagonists. And I hate it. And I feel like none of the Forsaken are. You go into them deep enough to understand why they made their choices. Don't need to agree with them making that choice, but you understand why they made that choice. And so I love Lanfear above all of the rest. I want to be a Shamael only because I'm not hot enough to be Lanfear. But if I was,
you're only hurting yourself,
woman,
Daniel.
If
You
I was
are hot
we're
enough
gonna
to be
see-
Lanfear.
if
We're gonna
I
see
was
you
as
on the silver
sexy
screen as Morden.
fuck-
And then we'll see Matt Hatch on the screen as Lanfear.
Yes!
And it'll be amazing.
Yes! Oh my
Yes!
god, Matt, get your sexy ass into the show. We can play in scenes with each other. I'll stroke your Corsuvra. And we'll
Gently, stroke it gently,
Oh,
please.
gently. Oh, gently. Very gently. No, but seriously, I honestly think that of all of the Forsaken, Lanfear legitimately is my favorite. She makes all of the wrong choices for all the wrong reasons, and yet every single time I go, yeah, but also like every single time. And I love it. And I love Robert Jordan for that. And I love that his villains are never boring. And I love that. And so Lanfear, I think, is an incredibly well-written character. I don't know. I really think that Lanfear is just so well done, even though she is the fucking worst. Like,
I
that's
hard agree.
my final thoughts are this sentence. I love Lanfear, even though she makes all the wrong decisions for all the wrong reasons. She's the best, even though she's the worst.
She's the best of the worst.
No, she's the best, even though she's the worst.
Okay.
That's a different
That's fair. That's
it's
fair.
a different statement. It's actually a more intense goddamn statement.
I agree.
Anyway.
Andrew.
Andrew. Where's Rachel? Where's Avienda?
Where are the other drugs?
Where is Avienda?
Somewhere in Virginia. I don't know. I actually have a friend named Rachel that lives in Virginia.
Oddly
so-
specific.
and she's in the Navy.
All right then.
I don't know why you're listening to this, but if you are, shout out to you, Rachel.
What's up, Rachel?
Lanfear is that
What's up,
character
baby?
that once you learn kind of her backstory, seems like she should have always been at the top, but is always coming in second or third. And has the power and ability.
Tyrann's dead. Sorry.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing. And she has the power and ability to be at the top, but can't get past her own desires and devices to move on to where she could be the most successful, even to a point where
did you just make the point that Lanfear has a block? Holy
I mean,
shit!
a self-imposed block for sure. But even when she gets to the point where she finally gets past that block and she can take her rightful spot at the top of things, she still fouls it up. It doesn't work. It doesn't go well. And it's at that point is the only point there at the end with Perrin where you can contribute her failures to honest, bad fucking luck. It is terrible luck for her that her compulsion doesn't work on Perrin. Everything else throughout the series where she fails is her own device. It's a result of her own devices, her own actions, her own failures as an individual, as a Forsaken, as just who she is. But
don't read anything right now. Just keep
yeah, I'm trying not to.
I love you.
But as a character, she's fantastic. I wouldn't give her a 10 out of 10 because she's
smart.
Well, I mean, she kind
Would you
of
give her
gets
just
like
a tip though?
I mean,
you don't have to give her all 10, but like 2, maybe 3.
bold of you to assume there's more than one. It's like an acorn in a forest. But she is an incredible character,
and
I love. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just because it's an inch this direction doesn't.
It's a fucking cheese. It's a fucking cheese wheel, man. Wisconsin is proud.
Can't hit the bottom of a soda can, but you
That's
can knock the sides
Wisconsin's
out.
chode right there. Hold on.
Okay.
Lanfear is
Why
super
do we
cool.
do
She
this
provides
to
a lot
each
of
other?
explanation into the Age of Legends, all that kind of fantastic stuff. And it's kind of unfortunate for her that it's at the end of the series that she actually gets past her hangups and becomes effectual and gets defeated by Ta'Veren plot armor / bad luck. So,
True.
which ultimately is for the betterment of
Excuse
society.
me,
but-
it took a long time and a lot of work in a forge for Perrin to build up those muscles that he used to snap her neck. So I don't want you to talk. I don't want you to say
it was
Ta'Veren
a Teleron Riad. Muscles don't
I
matter.
know, I was kidding.
Well, she was there. Well, they were both there in the flesh. So
That is true.
Eh,
They were both there.
but
in the
it's still
flesh.
Teleron
But
Riad.
no, I agree. Yeah, it was
True.
a joke.
facts. Oh my
Like,
God.
you could just will the air around your arm to be like Iron
Guys.
Man's like arm. You're fine.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We hope that you've enjoyed this particular rendition of our background breakdown, another BTP background breakdown.
Also,
I said that.
if you've made it this far, we do apologize that it didn't have more breakdown and it had, or more background, and it had more of us breaking down.
Well, that's why it's background breakdown, because it's one or the other. Flip a coin.
6 in one, half dozen in the other.
Yeah, that's right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new about
I
Lanfear.
did.
If there's something we didn't cover, leave it in the comments below. Respond to us on Twitter. Say, hey, idiots, you guys totally forgot to say this about Lanfear.
And if you do it
comments-
on Instagram, you'll be talking to me. And if you do it on
That's right.
Twitter, you'll be talking to Josh. And if you
and
do
if
it
you do it on
TikTok,
YouTube, you'll be talking to Andrew. If you do it on TwitTwak,
TwitTwak,
I'm done.
it'll also be me.
I'm done.
And if you
I'm
do it
done.
in email, it could be any of the three of us.
It could
If you do
be.
it in our editing software, you'll be talking to me for sure.
I don't know how
Well,
you
thank you
got
for
there.
tuning in.
I'm actually afraid of you right now.
Thank you for being
I mean,
here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having fun with us. We truly appreciate it. I know we say it a lot, but from the bottom of our black tainty hearts, thank you. Thank you so much for being
Oh,
here.
wrong arm. That one.
We truly appreciate you. Am I the only one that's mirrored? Why do I have a? I don't know. I'm gonna.
No,
mirror
you
myself.
and
I always
Andrew
base it
are
off of
both.
you. So, God damn it.
I
Hold
did
on.
my right arm, right hand,
Right hand.
Yeah, right hand.
I'm mirrored.
You and
You
Andrew
guys
are
are
both
fine.
mirrored.
Really?
Hold on.
I see Andrew as not mirrored. That's his right hand over his heart.
I see you guys doing the same thing and me doing an opposite thing.
Oh,
I am not
That's
mirrored.
funny.
Fucking weird.
Hilarious. Anyway,
Fucking
but thanks
weird.
for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Seriously, please go to our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to our Twitter, subscribe to our Podbean, subscribe to anywhere podcasts are located. We're there. Look us up.
We're on Audacity,
subscribe.
as I found it today at work. One of my
We're on
coworkers is like,
Audacity.
yeah,
Wait,
not
no.
Audacity.
Spotify.
Audible.
Audible. What?
Yeah, we're on
We're-
Audible.
We're on Audible. One of my coworkers, a
Damn.
first-time reader, he's in just finished book 9, was just looking up Wheel of Time on Audible and was like, "Oh, you guys are on Audible," and I was like, "We are." So going like
Yes.
any of these places, please do go and leave reviews, leave comments, any of that kind of stuff. It does help our metrics and the visibility. So if you enjoy the tainty filth that we spout here and you want others to be exposed to it as well, please do go and
Which,
leave
of
those
course
reviews.
you do.
And please do be honest. And if you have a criticism, we do encourage you to send it directly to us. You can tweet it to us. You can email it to us. You can put it in our Discord. We
I
have
was about to say,
channel in
best
the
way
Discord.
to do it is Discord. So you can
Yeah,
just
we-
drop it right to us.
We have a
We do
dedicated channel
also
called BTP Feedback.
recommend-
Let us know if you're like, hey, this isn't working. Stop it. Or you just have a criticism or advice to do something better or something that you love. Let us know.
Also,
true.
I will admit, as we have said before, and we will always say, not to call anybody out or do anything like that. But if you have a valid criticism, please back it up with logic and
Bring
an
receipts.
argument.
Bring
Please
receipts.
Bring receipts. Because while we do hear people who don't do that, We respect people who also bring us receipts and logic behind what they do instead of, this has been 23
You guys
minutes.
suck.
This has been 23 minutes of three fat guys talking about beer.
If
What was
you
our first hate
complain
comment?
about somebody and you sit there and it's obvious from your complaint, you only listen to 60% of the comment, we will rib on it and we will make fun of it.
Will.
What was that
Not by name,
our first hate comment?
but in general.
Our first
hate comment was we're like woke
it was
shills.
Like, these guys suck.
Well, yeah, someone did that on Podbean. They're like, woke fanboys was something that one. Then the second one was so glad I got banned from their Discord. Unsubscribing here too, like 4 months after they got banned from the Discord. And then it was
so active.
Then it was the one about like 23 minutes of frat boys talking about beer. No, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway,
hard pass.
We don't need to go into the shit that we've gotten. But again, we love all
that's pretty much it. Nobody's giving us more shit than that. Like, seriously.
Right. We
jokingly, we get shit all the time, but
we obviously understand that there are plenty of people who have listened to us and been like, not for me, and then not subscribed and also not commented. But again, we love feedback, whether it is positive or negative. If something isn't working, we want to hear it. Now, again, please tell us what isn't working and also tell us why it's not working. It doesn't need to be the greatest reason in the world. It just needs to be an actual reason instead of just, fuck you. You guys suck. Like, that's not a reason. That isn't.
We'll say this here. If your feedback is
your podcast.
If your feedback is you guys suck because the show sucks, or if you're a frequent flyer of r/white cloaks or anything like that,
oh God,
save your breath.
Oh God,
because all it's going to result is us laughing probably at you anyway. Which
actually, don't save your breath. We could use a good laugh.
Do it. Tell us. 100%. But also know
thank
that
you for
it's not
tuning
gonna
in.
change anything.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. You guys are awesome. We love you. We're happy to have you here. We're honored to have you here. We're definitely need to do an episode where we read mean tweets and hate comments. That needs to happen.
Andrew, we also need to do an actual episode about what the difference between the true power and the true source and everything is.
That needs to be an episode
great
too.
Talk.
Like we did.
We hope that you leave this episode just a little bit more insane than you were when you started. And from all of us here at the Black Tower, thank you for being here. I have been Josh, your Sorovan Mahale.
And I have been Andrew, your Bijan Mahale.
And I have been Daniel, your, oh God, that was adrenaline. Amin Khan Mahale.
My titty hurts. Mahale, hail.
What in the Mahale?
And from all of us here at the Black Tower, we absolutely love you guys. You guys are amazing. I know that we say it all the time, but it is 100% true. We love you more at the end of the day than we did when we woke up this morning, and that's exponential. And seriously, we hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing right now, when you are listening to this episode, that everything in your life is going your way. And if not, that it all turns around tomorrow. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Always running the show.
In the tower, you can bring your pain. In the tower, you can feel the strain.
You've been having so much trouble just fitting in the tower.